Good evening and welcome to Horror Historian. My name is Amanda, and tonight we will be discussing the 1985 fantasy film Legend. Now, this movie, along with Labyrinth, are two movies that really impacted my childhood. I loved them as a kid, and just like Labyrinth, this movie has scenes that scared the absolute piss out of me.
The director is Ridley Scott. He is most known for Alien, Hannibal, Blade Runner, Gladiator, and an enormous body of award winning films. Legend was released between Blade Runner and Someone to Watch Over Me. The writer is William Hjortsberg, who has sadly passed away. He is most known for Legend, but he also wrote Falling Angel, which is the book that Angel Heart was based on. The stars are Tom Cruise, Mia Sara, and Tim Curry. I really don't feel like I need to explain who Tom Cruise is, but he is most known for the Mission Impossible franchise, Top Gun, and a ton of other things over the last 40 years. Mia Sara is known for Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but this was her very first movie role. And Tim Curry is goddamn Tim Curry. You know who he is. Even if you don't know who he is, you know his voice in at least one piece of media he was involved with. He was in Rocky Horror Picture Show, where he really demonstrated his talents for singing. Movies I particularly love are Muppet, Treasure Island, Scary Movie 2, and Charlie's Angels. No real trigger warnings come to mind. It can be scary for children. I can tell you that much, though. Scared the hell out of me when I was 5.
The movie opens as most fantasy stories do, with a once upon a time. It also sets up a world that we're being introduced to, which is a world divided with humanity somewhere kind of in the middle.
The Lord of Darkness, played by Tim Curry, tells one of the goblins to kill the unicorns and bring him their horns. Blix is the leader, and she brings the others to follow Princess Lily. I honestly think the hate train for Lily this entire movie is a little excessive. It, it's just a little much. Jack should be the one that gets a little bit more hate because he's a fair little man in tune with the Fae, and he's the one that takes her to see the unicorns. He blindfolds her and takes her to the stream where the unicorns have been frolicking. After this close encounter where the unicorns kind of dance around her, they're not happy to have her there. She offers her hand out for the stallion to smell, and the unicorn is the one that gets closer. Although everyone in the movie is going to act as though Lily went over there and smacked the stallion on the butt herself. It's not even her fault when Bix shoots the stallion with a blow dart. The unicorns take off. Jack is pissed off at her for ignoring his words. She is a lot less concerned about it than he is because she has no reason to think that anything happened other than the unicorns got spooked. She is more focused on herself. She says that she will marry whoever finds the ring and then throws it in the pond. Jack, because he is horribly down bad, immediately jumps into the water.
It is at this point that Bix severs the stallion's horn while Jack is underwater. Immediately, snow starts falling and the temperatures just drop. The It's like this vortex of snow and just cold, and I'm living it right now. There's another storm coming here twice this week. Uh, anyway, Lily runs like hell, and Jack tries his best to break out of the ice covering the pond.
Lily goes back into the peasant village that we originally met her in. She is friendly with a lot of the peasants of her kingdom, especially one woman that she seemed warm with at the very beginning. That woman is now frozen solid. She hides inside the cottage when Bix and the idiots arrive with the severed horn. This is where she learns their plan. I'm obviously an extreme Lily supporter, and she really is the only person going gung-ho after the severed horn to try and make things right. She follows the goblins while fully aware that she is going to be seeing the incredibly dangerous Lord of Darkness. He is the devil, at least in his design and his position. While that is going on, Jack manages to get out of the water and meet up with some of the Fae. There's the forest elf, Honeythorn Gump, who is played by a Swiss 17-year-old with a voice that really does not expect, mostly because he's voiced by Alice Playton, who also plays Bix. Then Una, who I personally loved as a child, who was a will-o'-the-wisp with a secret ability to turn into a full-sized humanoid form. There are also two dwarves named Screwball and Brown Tom. They all share drinks for love, even if no one is thrilled with Jack having believed that his girlfriend wouldn't want to touch the unicorn, which, once again, is really not the primary issue with what happened. Gump reveals to Jack that the only way to make this right is by retrieving the horn and, I guess, just putting it back on the stallion. Jack apologizes to the mare, who is obviously still extremely distressed, and she's still protecting the corpse of the stallion. But Jack is going to go on little side quest because he needs to get some an ancient sword and armor so that he can battle evil. So the icon Brown Tom is left behind to protect the unicorns. Not long after the departure to find the artifacts, Lily shows up to warn Brown Tom that Bix and the Lord of Darkness are coming to get the mare. Lily is obviously exhausted, and it doesn't take much for Bix to knock her out, so that they can take her and the unicorn mare. For a little while you think that they actually killed Brown Tom, he just got his ass knocked out, though. Bix isn't able to take the mare's horn then and there, so she ends up taking the mare and Lily to present it to the Lord of Darkness and give him a chance to remove the horn himself. And maybe have a little fun with the innocents that led the goblins to the unicorns. While that is going on, Jack goes to get his suit of armor and sword. He also discovers Una can turn into a much larger human instead of the little light that Gump thinks that she is simply. Una has the hots for Jack, which is never going to happen, but she tries. She just asks Jack to keep this secret for her. I swear the scene in the swamp was so much longer in my head when I was a child. I swear that thing went on for a good 10 minutes of Meg Mucklebones just being terrifying. Maybe that version is real, but it's not the one that I saw this time. Either way, still pretty horrified. Jack kills her off by distracting her with compliments and then cutting off her head, which leads them to the dungeon, another location which scared the hell out of me as a kid. This is where they meet Blunder, who is played by Kiran Shah, an incredibly talented little person actor. He started out doing stunt work with he's been in a ton of stuff. And, although he's heavily involved with Star Wars and the Hobbit universe, admittedly I know him from There's Something in the Barn, which is a fantastic little movie. Go see it. You don't have to go anywhere. It's on Netflix, I think. He's being held hostage there, and Jack realizes that while they're locked up, Una is not. But Gump and the others don't know that she is not a simple will-o'-the-wisp. She is a fairy, kind of, that can make herself larger, so she can fly out of the dungeon, and she can get big enough to carry the key back to them. Gump is not pleased with that information at all, and Una is mad that she didn't get a little kiss for all that trouble. But it's really not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. It gets them out of the dungeon before they could be turned into pies, and it gets Blunder out of the pie. They find a bunch of shiny platters that they intend to use in their battle with the Lord of Darkness. Dawn is still going to come because only one of the unicorns is dead. If they can get it right, they can kill him, save the mare, and Lily. Not that Gump and the others give a shit about Lily, only Jack does. Lily has figured out that the Lord of Darkness has a bit of a hard-on for her, so she's going to manipulate him to survive and hopefully save the mare. I don't think she has much concern about herself. There's this scene where he finally gets her to submit to his will, kind of. Child me absolutely was terrified of the dancing dress because it's just a dancing dress. Lily is able to resist the jewelry, but the dress just kind of absorbs her, so she doesn't have much of a chance to escape that. I may have had a crush on Princess Lily as a child, especially in her goth area, but it is nothing compared to how the Lord of Darkness is feeling about the whole situation. I swear that man hit the nut button like 7 times. Lily, pretending to be interested in evil, says that she wants to take part in the ritual to take the horn. There's a lot of fire and drama going on as they gather around with a sword to remove the horn and a few goblins lurking around. Gump tells Jack to kill Lily so that she doesn't kill the unicorn and plunge the world into eternal darkness. But Jack believes in her, which he is absolutely right, but Gump is just a dickhead about the whole thing. It turns out that Gump has nothing to worry about because Lily uses the sword to cut through the chain holding the mare. The Lord of Darkness then tries to slap her into a coma, which he is successful. A mixture of the dawn and using the stallion's horn as a weapon ends the darkness. Well, kind of. He points out the obvious fact that as long as there is darkness in the hearts of people, he's never really gone. The movie ending that I watched has Lily woken up by Jack. He kisses her, gives her the ring that she had thrown in the pond. The stallion had been given his horn back, bringing the unicorns back together, but the decision was made that the fairies and the unicorns were going to kind of pull back from the world that's accessible to humans. Darkness laughs from somewhere, waiting to get strong again so he can return. And there are other endings. The European version is pretty much the same thing, except no evil cackling. The director's cut has Lily realizing that she's a princess and there's no way that they can realistically be together, but Jack still seems pretty happy, so whatever. The Fae and unicorns are dipping no matter what, though. When I was a kid, I loved this movie. I thought it was so pretty and it's just so cool. I still think it's a very pretty movie, and it's truly great set design. The design of Lord Darkness is also just chef's kiss. Tim Curry just always pops off. Just the nostalgia glasses are kind of off. I'm fully aware that this is a fairy tale and that it follows those conventions. At the same time, I feel as though the story was a little too thin, a little too much reliance on how pretty the sets are and how cool the music is. It was done by Tangerine Dream, so it wasn't that shocking how great the music was. It relies really heavily on visuals, which I guess I'm used to with Ridley Scott movies. Atmosphere is a big deal for his movies, and this one is immaculate. But the plot is so thin, and sometimes it was a little weird how the women in the movie were framed. Lily and Una were pretty much the only thing driving the film, and were often spoken about in a much more negative light, and kind of like framed as duplicitous bitches. The only the way that everyone talked about them was oddly harsher than the way they talked about the Lord of Darkness. It was also wild seeing Tom Cruise with his original teeth. He was 22 during the filming, I believe.